to our last finance committee of 2024.
Yay.
Let's see, got a few things on the agenda tonight. First being, it was brought up, supplemental funding for Norwood Television. So I wasn't sure, you had mentioned that to me of we need to find funding for it, or what was the situation for that?
Forgive me, I didn't.
No, it's fine.
I didn't
I know
dive
you said
into
like
that.
$30,000 we needed, if we need, I don't know, if they're paid via a grant?
We need an additional, so typically the way that it works is Pace Communications is paid off of our franchise fees.
Okay,
So we have franchise fees with Charter and Cincinnati Bell. Whenever those come in, they come in more as a pass-through. So they come into us and then we immediately shift them over to Pace.
okay.
And I don't have totals on that, that's Fund 16.
Okay,
If you have the current statement of cash report and or Mr. Miracle's spreadsheet that he uses, but Fund 16, I'm sorry, is Pace Communications. So, and you'll see it'll net zero, so everything that comes in goes directly back out.
so do we know, is that something like we need to find now, or just looking forward? As I've never had to,
Yeah, I don't think we had discussed this previously, but
okay,
No, sir. But Fund 16 will give you the current.
I'll look at that, okay.
So that'll give you what we've done for them this year, what we brought in versus what we've sent out.
What's needed? So do we get a purchase order or anything for that, or is it just?
There are purchase orders for
Okay.
Pace, yes. That's handled by Mr.
An
Miracle's
invoice,
office. Sasha
okay.
takes care of that.
yeah.
All right, we'll see if we can get any more info on that. Make sure our Norwood Television gets paid. Yes.
And next month we can talk about that a little more
Yeah,
in depth.
I can move that forward. All right. So earnings tax update from the tax department.
All right. So 2024, successful year as far as we are concerned. I'd like for you guys to look down at the bottom of the page that I've given you. You'll see a 0%. We're actually up 63,000 right now year over year. It doesn't equate to a full percent, so it won't change. But we still, this is as of this evening, so we'll still have about a week's worth of stuff that's going to come in that will also go onto this report prior to the year actually ending. So the last 2 years in a row, we've received that kind of $1 million one-off payment. So if you follow the net profit sections down on 2023 and 2024, you'll notice that they're right about $1 million difference. We did not receive that this year, so we've done still rather well in net profit. You can see that our withholdings are a decent amount, about $600,000 up from the previous year, and then we'll be running about neck and neck. We're up right now on individuals, which is pretty much just resident returns. It could also mean a business that an individual files personally rather than under an LLC or an S corp or something along those lines. It'll still fall into that category. So we're up there. We're up on our withholdings. Everything is kind of on the up and up there. You can just see kind of the difference in our net profit, where the one-off payment from new entities or growing businesses inside the city just didn't come out for us this year.
Okay.
But still keeps us ahead. It keeps us ahead. You'll see the total for 2024 right now, so it's at 22.1. So it's just under $1 million over estimate. Which is very nice.
Nice.
That's good.
We'll be able to kind of see those kind of boost up in the near future here. But we're up overall year over year, and we are up over estimates. We're gonna work on this year on compliance quite a bit. We do see that we're down a pretty good amount of filers. Plus we've got a lot of new developments coming up with a generous amount of new population coming in, so we will work to get some compliance on that and hopefully
Great.
see some of these numbers boost, give everybody a little leeway to play with. That is it for the tax department.
Awesome.
You guys have something?
Great.
There will be some new forms coming out this year that aesthetically they are more appealing, but they also have some calculations and stuff built into them. So some of the simple math errors that we commonly see on handwritten paperwork, we're hoping to prevent this year. So it'll do the basic like 2% calculations and stuff like that for you, and then just follow the instructions on the form to do the rest of the way. But there will be some new forms on that. There are also new forms for our employers for quarterly withholdings. So those will also, I guess if folks are watching, those are going to have a different address. They're going to match the address that is on our current water bills. So they'll be headed to Louisville, Kentucky as well. They will, that's our new lockbox. That's going to be our lockbox for the water and the tax department now. The tax department has kind of yet to catch up. We have a lot more going in there than the water department does. But so that will be, the new address will be on the new forms. The new business and individual filing forms will be posted online here in just a minute. And then we are also going to ramp up trying to receive some tenant lists from our property owners. It's something that is in ordinance. It is under the income tax portion. And there will be a reference to the specific section in the ordinance on the form, but it's a very basic form asking for move-in, move-out dates, tenants' names, and then their phone numbers or a contact. Some form of contact. Could be a phone number, could be an email address, just any kind of form of contact there. But it'll all be on the form, and then we will start sending those out to the individual property owners of these places to hopefully have them fill out and return to us.
Oh,
Good.
nice. Okay. All right. And we will be talking next year too. So I know you guys have a few things that schedule-wise we're all going to work on for next year. I didn't want super amount of detail on it. I just wanted to kind of be like, hey, we're all going to be talking about this the next meeting in January. So kind of with that, with the 2025, I wanted to see if everyone was still comfortable wanting to do the monthly standing meetings. With that, January we might have a little bit longer one, so the time might be different on that. But tax department wise, anything just real brief you guys are looking forward to kind of either scheduling or
25.
yeah, just specifically just kind of with our meetings, like, hey, this is what we're kind of thinking.
Personally, I'd like to see if we could add about a half an hour
Okay.
to each of those meetings, just for the simple fact that sometimes it can get in depth.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably talk for days, to be honest, but just to make sure that we have kind of complete transparency there, and we're able to feed you guys all the relevant information.
Okay.
And we don't run up
I know,
onto council.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Mr. Miracle, I mean, he's long-winded, so. But I'm just kidding. His office has so much detail and so much stuff to give out. So
Yeah.
I mean, while we don't have that amount, we are kind of branching out and taking on a lot of new things. There's a lot of updates. So
Yeah.
if we could just maybe add a little extra time on it.
Yeah, no, I like that. We haven't quite done it yet, but I really want to do maybe not the January one, but maybe in February, where we kind of get on the TV and really go into depth and show everyone everything that you've done on the city website, the Ohio checkbook, the VIP analytics that you've been working on.
Right.
I know there's trainings that are being recorded that eventually will be available, which have been very exciting. As the building department hears your excitement. So yeah, I like maybe a 6 p.m. into just to give us a buffer between meetings. I feel like we've had a few this year where it's been like, ugh,
Yeah.
and I don't have time to do my notes and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't have any issues with 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
All right, great.
Closer to 5 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, well, an hour and a half feels like 4 sometimes.
Yeah. It's like, doo-doo.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the update and great job on your estimates. Million over is always a nice way to go. All right. And I have on here 2024 review. And when Mr. Girton gets here and when we can talk to Mr. Braden. And this is just something I want everyone to kind of mull over of, again, like what would you like to see next year? Maybe, you know, I think we've done a great job keeping everyone updated with all the changes in the auditor's office and all of that. But if there's anything, anyone else in the finance committee or outside of that would like to see regularly or, you know, anything, any format or any of that, brainstorm, throw it out there.
Throw it out there for y'all as well,
Yeah.
the staff. If
Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
specific, I mean, if you guys would rather have visuals than, you know, something kind of simple
Paper.
and Jane in there where you kind of see flow lines and stuff like that. I mean, we can put that kind of stuff together if you'd like.
Yeah, that's, I know everyone's internalizes things differently, either numbers or graphically.
Yeah.
So anything like that I think would be good, again, just for fast information, understanding, all of that.
Yeah, it'd be great to have visuals if it's not like, you know, a ton of work. I know Excel
Yeah.
does it pretty quick, but depends on how much complexity there is. And that way, that's also something like potentially you could like be like, hey, if you are someone who's not on this committee, here's kind of what's going on, just to give you the lay of the land really quickly.
I like graphs too.
Yeah, graphs, and I like graphs. I'm a scientist.
Pie chart or bar chart?
Yeah.
Ooh. But I think, I mean, Mr. Miracle, if you want to take the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, what I wanted to talk this evening of, you know, we've put quite a number of things on the auditor's website, and what I want to add, several items. One is the Auditor of State's 2025 calendar. They have a desktop calendar, which I've sent to Jerry Smith, so I want to put that on there. There's a lot of information on there. You can go on to the auditor's website right now under publications, and you can find that. It's in red, it says new 2025 calendar. But also, what I emailed you and also gave you a copy of this evening is just kind of a summary. There they are. Just a summary by month, and I'm going to add some detail on here. So basically, each month, you know, what's coming up in the auditor's office that we're working on and needs to be completed, and then I'd like to have our own calendar with dates in there, with the council meetings and how they fall. And so, you know, if you've got to have the tax budget done by the middle of July, which meeting do we have to have that to you?
Right.
So that you can, right, so you'll know, okay, July's coming up, this is what we got to do this month. You know, each month you'll know what the expectations are and what we're going to be working on. So I think that's important, you know, as we're planning. We can even talk about it in the monthly finance committee meetings, say, hey, here's what's going on with January, and we can review that on the website as well. And then also, one of the things I think we need to include in the finance committee meetings monthly is to review the report on accounting methods from the Auditor of State, and so we can see where we are each month, what needs to be complete, what has already been finished and approved. And then we can, you know, I think we all like some visuals here, so if it's good to go, we'll highlight it in green. We don't have to worry about that. And let's just go on to the others, because that is the, you know, my singular focus is to get us out of fiscal emergency next year. So, and whatever we have to do that we haven't completed, there's some things on there. Some of them are a collaboration of multiple departments, we could even have an update monthly, so we could report out to council, so we know where we're at.
Yeah, and I've failed on bringing that finished document to committee yet, but that's what, I kind of took your report on accounting methods and then downsized it a little bit, but it's still each item, and then I have notes, but I'm trying to create a format so it's like real quick, like you said, we updated it, this is what we did in committee, and then I can release it quick to council and just say, these were the items that were updated on.
Yeah, and we could even put that on my website and update that as they're complete, and anybody can view it for transparency's sake, but also when we're here meeting, we can just pull it up. Because I like your idea next month, in January, when Tim and I come in, we can pull it up and look on the screen and just kind of go through that.
Another thing that I just thought of while we're talking is, since we have pretty successfully this year had a meeting every single month with the standing meetings, I can kind of create agendas for each month on those expectations. So like we know in June we're going to have to revise something so it can be approved, but those items will automatically already be on there. And then it's because I know I typically reach out to you guys like a week or two before a meeting and say, is there anything else on there? But it can just be something we all know this is going to happen on this month, and then anything else just can be added before it goes to be released.
Yeah, and in some cases, we might want to talk about it maybe a couple.
What works? Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 months prior, because that's when it needs to be completed, and council has to approve it, and then it goes on to wherever else it goes to, the state or the county.
So maybe kind of match up those agendas to the schedule you've presented.
And I wanted to get that in front of you.
Yeah.
So now you can say, okay, this is what we got to do in January, here's what we got to do in February.
Good to think ahead rather than, being proactive as opposed to reactive.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I think that'll help. I'll do all of that.
So that's kind of what I'd like to add to the meetings moving forward. And then, like we were talking about before, if there's something that whomever, part of the finance committee or council as a whole would like to see, additional information or whatever they would like to see. And we can put it in a format that makes sense, right? It's one thing to have data out there, but we don't want to overpopulate that and make it confusing. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe a one-pager or something.
Yeah.
That could kind of, here's the highlights of, but we'd have the detail available. So if you're so inclined, you want to review that, that's fine as well.
I like that. Okay. So for January, more specifics on the schedule, maybe kind of finalizing and looking at what that timeline would be for us to discuss it so everything goes smoothly and nothing's rushed or last minute. I think we've hit everything on the agenda. Is there anything else?
Can't think of anything.
Okay.
This may be more of a higher level question, but at the state level, is there any indication that maybe that local government funding that's been cut back quite a bit, will that be changed at all anytime soon, or is that?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I have
Yeah.
to do a little more research on that.
I had read some article about them discussing it, and then I didn't hear anything else. So, I know right now they're kind of in a lame duck session, so I have no idea what's going on.
A lot of discussions.
A lot of discussions, I figured.
Not enough of going on.
Figured, but it would be nice to get more money from that, but I guess just something I was curious about. Be like, oh, that would be nice if they restored some of that funding.
Yeah.
Mr. Gruden, if there's anything, we were kind of talking about next year and reflecting on this past year. I kind of threw out there if anyone had any other input on what they would like to see going forward for our standing meetings next year, any other information, different presentation of the information. Mr. Wagers recommended we start maybe at 6 instead of 6:30, just to give us some more time. And I like that. I'm game for
I'm
that.
open for that, yeah.
But yeah, anything you would like to see going, and this is something you can brainstorm on. We'll bring it up again in our January meeting, but just want to kind of plant the seed.
We'll say, this committee has made me think that terms need to be longer for city council. Just because I'm just starting to get my feet, wet and understand, I think, what we're doing here. And then I've got a year left, and,
Yeah.
and maybe there's a new guy in my seat next year, or next term.
Yeah.
But I applaud the transparency. I think that felt like drinking from a fire hose a couple times, but I think that our information is out there. We're not, we don't have anything to hide. So.
Yeah. There's nothing
Definitely
to
a
hide.
mouthful, isn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
it? Get your first taste of this.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit on the VIP analytics anymore? Because I think that's something that would be.
Yeah, we've got a couple more conversations, but, and that's one of the things I wanted to bring in January.
Yeah.
Was, part of the VIP software that we have. There's VIP Analytics, which is an additional program that we have that really gets into some very nice reports. I think we've talked a little bit before. Where I work, we use Power BI, and I was talking to the team at VIP, and they're like, well, we don't do Power BI reports. That's more of Excel. And so I was a little disappointed, but then in the same breath, she said, but we do have VIP Analytics. And so I was like, awesome. So then we've started down that journey the past few weeks, which I think is going to be very useful for us. And there are some, essentially you can create your own reports. It's something that I wasn't familiar with, but we're jumping in with both feet, and I think it's going to be very useful for us, and something we can share at next time we meet in January, the 28th.
Because you have 6 trainings and they've all been recorded, right?
Four.
Four-
There's 2 more.
2 more, okay.
Yeah, 'cause we had some scheduling conflict.
But they're all being recorded, so
Yes.
anyone just trying to get in, and I got an account, but I'm really excited
Yeah.
for next year. I mean, it's like, we're kind of talking about like all this information getting thrown at us, but like this is something that we could go in and be like, oh, I want to see
Right.
this and that, and there you go.
Yeah, that would be very helpful for me.
Yeah.
Like I've learned a lot, and there's always more to learn. And
There is.
I
And,
want to make sure that I'm understanding what I think I'm understanding.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And I think sometimes, if you're able to put it in the format that you can, digest, it would be easier for folks. I know I'm a visual person, so I kind of like things a certain way. And I'm sure there's others the same way. So that's something we want to bring to you next month.
That reminds me, Mr. Miracle mentioned this to me in our last full council meeting. We were just talking offline. And I was wondering if we could, talking about brainstorming for next year, have some kind of dashboard that we create, some kind of report that we think is the most helpful information to look at in a quick snapshot. So that way we could have that ready for every meeting. And I think you would need to be in part of that conversation, because I don't know that we know everything that we should put in that snapshot.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we want to do, and I think once we get into a rhythm with that, like you were talking about, you just kind of feel like and then we can bring that information and put it just up on the screens when we get here, and then we can go over it and then share that with on the website with anyone
Right.
that wants to review it at home as well. Yeah.
I apologize for my tardiness.
Okay, so via the standing meetings, Finance Committee, we will reconvene once I confirm. So January 28th, if that the 4th Tuesday still works for everybody, and we will go at 6 p.m. going forward.
Good with me. I'm not going anywhere.
And so, yeah, I'm hopeful kind of we keep the ball rolling in the right direction and kind of get things. I definitely want to do like the visuals, use the TV more so if people at home can access like and see us going through like the website and Ohio checkbook and really help people become familiar with that and us just using that like this is there. We can use this on a daily basis and at meetings if we have questions we can pull it right up. So I'd like to start doing that more next year as well. And then yes, having kind of a standard, we talked a little bit about the schedule for the auditor of state and then automatically having things on the agenda the month prior when they need to be approved. And so we all kind of know we're on the same page and maybe the tax department or auditor's department say, yep, this isn't far enough, can we move this? And so like you're kind of talking about if someone else comes in like, hey, here's the standard agenda for January, here's the standard agenda for February, and these are things that need to be talked about prior to kind of help that as well. All right, anything else?
I'm good.
All right, thank you all for being here, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.